Welcome again. The Laurinburg, Scotland County Area Chamber of Commerce presents this opportunity to learn the platforms of our candidates in an open forum. As citizens, we want to show our gratitude to the candidates who are with us tonight for their willingness to serve. Thank you, candidates. I want to offer a special thank you to the Arts Council of Scotland County for hosting this event. Thank you, Arts Council. I want to thank our partners, the Laurinburg Junior Service League, who will serve as our timekeepers this evening. Thank you, ladies. And leading the Pledge of Allegiance for us tonight is Miss Martha Robley with the League of Women Voters. We will recite the pledge after the presentation of colors. All right, the presentation of colors will be provided tonight by Scotland High JROTC. Please stand.
Up, right, up, right, up, left turn, march, other guard, hold, freeze and arms. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. My turn, march. You may now be seated. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Martha Robley, and I'm honored to speak on behalf of the Scotland Geo Unit of the League of Women Voters of Moore County. We were formerly known as the Mid-Sandhills Member-at-Large Unit of the League of Women Voters of North Carolina. We are a nonpartisan, grassroots organization dedicated to empowering voters and defending democracy for over 105 years. The Scotland Geo Unit works here locally in Scotland County to provide voter education, help register new voters, and provide voter information at events like tonight's candidate forum to give our community direct access to candidates and to the issues. We do not support or oppose any political party or candidate, but we are passionate about making sure every eligible voter has the information they need an opportunity to participate in our elections. To help voters make informed decisions, we offer Vote 411, the League of Women Voters online candidate guide. On vote411.org, you can find comprehensive, unbiased information about candidates, their positions, and what's on your ballot, as well as direct links to other websites to find additional information about the voting process. I encourage everyone to visit the website vote411.org, share it with your friends and family, and use it as a resource as you prepare to vote in the upcoming municipal elections. And we do Vote 411 for every election at every level of government. In fact, on your seats, you will find either a postcard, I think it's a bookmark tonight, that will give you additional information about Vote 411. Lastly, please visit our table. We have one in the back. If you need any further information, I've got sample ballots for the different municipalities. I also have a sheet that gives you the early voting hours, as well as deadlines that pertain to voting. Our thanks to the Chamber and to the Junior League for sponsoring tonight's forum. But above all, I thank all of you for coming here tonight and for your commitment to your community and to your democracy. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Robley. All right, our moderator for tonight is Mr. Joe Bowen. Joe Bowen grew up in Scotland County and is a 1988 graduate of Scotland High School. He is a 1992 graduate of the UNC Charlotte with a degree in history and secondary education. He spent 12 years in the classroom before going into pharmaceutical sales. Joe moved back to Laurinburg in 2011 and is currently a financial advisor with Edward Jones. He has a lifelong love of history and politics. Please join me in welcoming Joe Bowen to the podium.
Good evening, and thank you all for being here. I will say this, Chris. To be honest, I think I love politicians more than I love politics. I love people and their stories, if that makes sense. So I like politicians, and there's some on both sides that I like and some on both sides that I detest. So I'll leave that alone. First of all, I'd like to echo the comments of Ms. Roebling, and thank you to the Chamber for putting this event on. I do want to direct you to, when you came in, you were given a lineup of who's here tonight or who's running for office. On the back of that, don't overlook the calendar of events that the Chamber is putting on here in our community. I can tell you from personal experience, everything they do first rate. And we are really, really proud to have this group here in our community and the things that they give us to do. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the ladies of the Junior League who are going to make sure that we stay on time and pace and that everyone has a fair opportunity to hear and be heard. I will tell you this really, really quickly. As we start this, most important thing, I think the thing that's missing most in politics today is everybody takes everything personal and they get offended. If I cut you off, if I make an attempt to put you back on path, it is not personal. I'm still your neighbor and I'm still your friend, but it's not a personal forum. I'm going to do everything I can to keep the comments and the answers and the candidates and the folks asking the questions online and in line with what we're trying to do here in this public forum. So again, if I ask you to redirect a comment or what have you, it ain't personal. Second thing is for the candidates. I don't know if we have any members of the press who will be coming later to ask questions. If not, I may ask a couple of questions. One of the things, I was just talking to Clayton Brooks as he came in. I will go ahead and say this to all of the candidates. As far as some of the districts here, City of Laurinburg, the District 1, District 2, tell us exactly what citizens that is, who it is that you would be representing, and where do you go to vote in that district, in that precinct. The other thing I was going to say is, last thing, I generally don't watch the political talk shows because the candidates or the political figures never answer the question. If someone asks one of the candidates, and I'm telling you all this so that you don't feel ambushed, if I ask you a question or a member of the audience asks a question and I don't feel like you answered the question, I'm going to ask you to clarify. And I'm probably not going to let go until I feel like you have answered the question. Is that fair? Yes. Okay, just want you to know that I'm not trying to be a pain in the butt. I can be, but that is not the point. I do want everyone to have a real, honest reflection of what your views and your stances are. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to present their platform. So each candidate's going to have a couple minutes to tell us why you're running and what it is that you bring to the forum, to the table as a candidate. The Junior League members are here. They're going to flag the candidates, and they'll give folks a warning. I'll be monitoring that. You don't really have to be concerned about that. There will be questions. Everyone in the audience has the opportunity to ask questions of these candidates. Each candidate has 2 minutes to respond to the question. It may be that your question is directed at one particular candidate, but if the other candidate would like 2 minutes to respond, they are certainly going to be given that. And there will be an opportunity for everyone to have 2 minutes of rebuttal to any answer that is given. Again, the audience will be given the opportunity for questions for the candidates, time permitting. We'll do that at the end. You can ask your questions to just one candidate or all the candidates. Please raise your hand if you would like to ask a question to the candidate, or you have we won't just have comments. I'll ask you if you have a question raise your hand, we'll recognize you and you can ask your question. And you have to state your name before you ask the question. I ask you to tell us your name, who you are, before you ask your question. No personal attacks on any candidate will be tolerated. I don't think we have to worry about that. You have 2 minutes and rebuttal time. Chris, did they catch it all?
Pretty good. There's a mic right there for when the audience wants to come and ask questions.
Okay, right here. So if you would, if you have a question, come up to the mic, tell us your name, and then state your question. Any questions about the format from you folks before we begin?
So, just ask me to turn my cell phone off.
So, say again? Yeah, and if you would, please, at minimum, turn your cell phones on silent. Thank you. I agree. If you would, please turn your cell phones on silent. Okay? The first race we have here, I'm just going to go straight down the list that you were given, is the town of Gibson, for mayor of the town of Gibson. We have Mr. Ron Cherry and Archie Herring. Ron Cherry and Archie Herring. Ron Cherry. Archie, thank you for being here this afternoon. And tell us why you want to be the Gibson of mayor.
Well,
Gibson of mayor, the mayor of Gibson, I'm sorry.
well, first off, I'd like to thank Arts Council, Chamber of Commerce, Junior Service League, and League of Women Voters. I am presently the mayor of Gibson, and just want to follow through on what we've started. We've gotten a couple of grants through the American Recovery Plan, and you know, just want to make sure that those are followed through. 2 administrations ago, they laid the groundwork, and we're working with that. We've also got a couple of other grants to look at our wastewater and water systems. So that's the main reason, is just to make sure that that's followed through on.
We've been talking on the radio in the morning some with Charles Nichols, and I know that the county water is tied in with the city water. Is the city of Gibson in that, are they tied in with the county plan, the city plan as well?
Yes, sir, it is, and I must say that all 3 entities work well together. We work well with the county and with the city of Laurinburg.
Okay. How long have you been mayor of Gibson?
2 years.
And what have you enjoyed most about it?
Whoa. I guess that's a tough one, and I don't really know how to answer that. I guess to some degree, I think I heard, you know, Mayor Willis say this one time, that he was a cheerleader for Laurinburg and for Scotland County. So just trying to solve the problems. I mean, you know, and thank God in Gibson they're all small, so we can usually take care of them if they'll, you know, everybody's got my phone number. They call me. We're just 1 square mile. That's what I say, and I'm glad it's just 1 square mile. If it was any larger than that, I don't know that I would do it. But I mean, you know, it's been an education. I told somebody this morning I paid $5 to do it the last 2 years. I went and put $5 down to do it another 2. But just the experience has been unbelievable, and well worth it. I've got a good council. We've got great employees that work with the town of Gibson, and like I said, and it takes a team, and you've all got to work together. And working with the county and the city, we do that very well.
Well, I should say this, I think that's an accomplishment within itself, building that partnership and networking with the other folks. And I'll say this to you real quick. You said that it's not a big town and they're not big problems. I'll guarantee you that the problems are big if you live in the town of Gibson.
Well, it is.
So it don't minimize the impact you're having.
Oh no, it you know, just I tell people too that I didn't know that people set their sundials, their VCRs, their watches, their microwave by when they get their trash picked up. If their trash doesn't get picked up Monday morning by a certain time, boom, 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 the phone starts going off. And I mean, you know, it's all good. This Saturday, and I know we're all busy, and I appreciate y'all's time, because time is one of the most important commodities that we have. And we've got a festival going on Saturday at the park. So if you've got a few minutes, ride over to Gibson. And also another thing that Vicki Leach, one of our citizens, has put her life into the last few years is the museum at the depot. So if you've never been to the museum at the depot, 1 to 4 on Saturdays is when it's open, and it's well worth the trip.
Thank you, Archie.
And if you don't know where the depot is, it's right beside the railroad track.
You can't miss it. Any questions from the audience? Yes,
I
ma'am.
have a question. Have to go to the mic?
No, I'm sorry.
And tell us your name.
Or she can bring it to you.
Shirley McNair. Question, as the mayor you've been for the last 2 years, what improvements have you done for Gibson? And what do you think there still needs to be done that you can complete?
Well, we purchased some new equipment, but our main thing is looking at the infrastructure. Because if you wanted to come in and build a car wash or a laundromat, we could not handle that right now. So that's why we're looking at the infrastructure. When we get a baseline on where we're at, what we need, then we can apply for those grants. And that'll move us forward.
What changes have you made since you've been mayor?
Really no changes, because, we've had a couple of festivals, a couple of parades, if you want to look at that. But as far as changes, none.
Any follow-up questions? Thank you, Archie. Yes, ma'am. Come to the microphone.
Mr. Archie, what about the
A
crime
little
rate?
closer.
What about the crime rate in your area, and who's servicing you for public safety?
The Sheriff's Department services us, and one of the sheriff's deputies was at our council meeting Thursday night, and we only had 1 breaking and entering for the month of September.
Mm-hmm. That's very good.
That's fantastic.
You're happy?
Good questions. Any other questions? Archie, thank you for being here. Best of luck. While Archie makes his way back to his seat, next up is the Town of Gibson candidates for commissioner. You can vote for 3 of these if you're in that area. Solomon Daniel Baxley, I'll call these one at a time, give them a chance to come up. Randy Pearson, Michael T. Swinney, and Marjorie Whitlock. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for everybody for coming, and thank you, the Chamber, for sponsoring this event. I'm Marjorie Whitlock. I'm a lifelong citizen of the Gibson area and a citizen of Gibson for the past 20 years. I'm a retired Scotland County school teacher, and I have enjoyed serving on the town council for the past 4.5 years. I filled out a term of 1.5 years for a person who moved to Laurinburg, and then I ran again on my own. And I would like to continue the stability that Archie Herring has brought to our town. It hadn't always been like that. He's done a wonderful job. We have really great camaraderie between our commissioners. They've done a lot of hard work, and I just like to continue doing that.
Thank you, ma'am.
And everything Archie said, I don't know how to ask, I don't know of any other questions y'all can ask me, because he said it all. But he has been a wonderful mayor.
Thank you. Any questions from the audience? What did you teach? That's what I always like to ask.
I taught Spanish when they had Spanish in the elementary grades, and then I taught 3rd grade and kindergarten, but mostly 2nd grade at Paygarden.
Yes, ma'am, in the back. Come up to the microphone. Tell us your name.
My name is Shari Johnson. I heard all of this about grants and all of that, but not really where it went. And then I didn't really hear a why nothing was changed.
Well, we have a grant that we have now that is being used to assess our sewer system.
Sewer system.
The sewer system is, the pipes are old, as they are in lots of other towns.
All communities or just not like the communities in Gibson?
Just in Gibson.
Okay, so just in Gibson, and then why isn't there been any change in 2 years?
Well, because they haven't finished assessing everything yet. When all the assessment of the pipes in the sewer system is finished, then we'll know where to proceed from there.
So did the assessing start 2 years after, or in the beginning of the 2 years, or?
It
how
started
long?
in the middle of
In the
this
middle.
past 2 years.
And how long does assessing normally take?
Until it gets finished.
Uh,
And I don't mean to be
Come.
flip.
No, I will say this really quickly, and I don't know how much you know about the local dynamics in the Gibson politics, but in the phrases of the country folks where I come from, before Archie came, they had a mess.
Okay.
And I think when Archie came, she was talking about stability, and that was a nice way of saying that getting things back on track. And that was their starting point here in the last couple of years, was getting things assessed. Am I right, Ms. Whitlock? Am I right, Archie? If I'm speaking out of turn, tell me. But that was the starting point, was getting things assessed and saying, okay, instead of the nonsense we've had going on, what do we need to fix to make Gibson better? And that's when you start begging the government for money, which is what a grant is. It takes time and assessment. They sometimes feel like they waste more money on assessment than they do fixing the problem. But that's neither here nor there. That's their process, and that's the way it has to be done.
Grants and certain things are not just rushed or anything
Sure.
like that. It's just more so I'm just trying to see, what is the plan after it's assessed, and after we get all of these pipelines fixed, do we have other things already in place to fix in Gibson besides just the
There's always something. that
pipes?
needs fixing.
Okay. I just wanted to hear a why. I didn't hear an answer to the why. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I just say something else?
Absolutely.
Gibson is a little town, but it is a nice little town to live in. It is. It's got lots of good people. Our own 2 children moved back from Atlanta, and our daughter from 25 years in Asheville and Swannanoa, just to move back to Gibson. So it really is a nice place to live. So if you get tired of living in the big city of Lombard, we'll welcome you over in Gibson.
I don't know that those 3 words usually go to, or 4 words go together. The big city of Laurinburg, unless you're from John Station, Wesley. So, anyone else have a question for Ms. Whitlock? Thank you, Ms. Whitlock.
Thank you.
Best of luck to you, and best of luck to Gibson. Next up, we have the City of Laurinburg City Council at-large candidates, James McLean and Jason Watson. Welcome, Jason, and tell us about your platform and why you want the seat.
First of all, I'd like to thank Arts Council and the Chamber of Commerce for hosting this. This is my first time ever running for an elected official position, and I've enjoyed the process and meeting new people and being a part of this. So again, thanks for everybody who had a hand in putting this together. I was born in Laurinburg. I was raised in Laurinburg. I graduated school from Scotland High School in 1999, just a few years after the other guy who mentioned his tape. And I've raised my kids in Laurinburg. I've served the city as a Laurinburg police officer. I've served this city and this community as a pastor here in Laurinburg, as the pastor of Cross Point Church. And I think it's time for me to step up and serve this city in a new capacity as a city council member. I've spent 5 years with the Laurinburg Police Department here, so I'm very familiar with the streets and the areas, and I'm familiar with the people. We have some amazing people here in the city, all sides and all streets, and we're some great people here. There's some crime that I think we need to address, and some crime numbers that we need to maybe look at, considering the fact that our crime rate is 3 times higher than the national average. I think there's some questions that need to be asked. Also, one thing that I currently do, as well as being a pastor, is I'm also a budget officer for the Provost Marshal Office on Fort Bragg. So I handle a multi-million-dollar budget for safety and support. And so I want to use the skills and the things that I've learned and accumulated and experience I've gained along the way to encourage and to build and to help move the city of Laurinburg into the next chapter, if you will. So that's why I want to run for city council.
What do you see the next chapter being for Laurinburg?
Great question. So I see the next chapter as, first of all, there's a lot of people who, when I talk to, want a restaurant that we can sit down in and eat. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of traveling to Southern Pines to eat steak, right? We've eaten at Woolies, we've eaten at Adrian's, and those are some great places, and I'll continue going to those places. But I'd love to see something like pick your favorite restaurant. I'd love to have them right here in Scotland County, right here in Laurinburg, in the city, so that we can keep the money right here in the city from our citizens. So I think that's probably the next initial step. Obviously, economic development is very important. What's benefiting the citizens here, and also the next step would be maybe getting our youth involved in some things and getting them out of the crime-ridden parts and environments that currently many of them are in, and find ways to engage them and build them up and educate them and get them on the path to becoming contributing citizens of the city.
Questions from the audience for Jason?
Well, anytime we get to blame why we don't have a steakhouse, I blame Chris English as a chamber. Always. But anyway, Jason, Joe Patton, Laurinburg resident. As a former police officer, and I know we have some city councilmen here tonight, are you concerned about the budget and how you can pay for what you plan to do for, to increase the policing for the crime?
Yeah, I think absolutely. We've got to make sure that our police officers are funded, that they have the funding that they need, they have the equipment and the staff they need to do their job effectively. I think one thing that I bring to the table is the fact that currently, not only do I have 20 years in law enforcement, but I also have the last 3 years being in charge of all the support services and budget. So I can help with the whole budgeting piece because I know where to trim fat. I've seen, once I get in and I can see the budget, and I've looked over some of the things that the city currently has, and if I'm not mistaken, some of you correct me, we operate with about a $40 million budget within the city. A lot of that's kind of split up between the different departments within the city. But a part of being in charge of support services is I'm also in charge of crime analytics or crime intel. And so I know what you can do with a little bit of experience and a little bit of room, such as, especially now, I'm going to get too far because my time's going to run out, but there's a lot of things you can do, especially in the world of AI currently with crime statistics. We have a crime analyst who shows us a heat map every single week of where the crimes are occurring, what times they're occurring, how saturation patrol, just simple saturation patrols at the right time, at the right place will limit and it will diminish a lot of the crime. It's just a matter of being in the right place at the right time. And I feel like that with some of those questions posed, and I'm not saying that I can change anything within the police department, but I think I can just ask questions and maybe just offer a little bit of experience and how we can help curb some of those things. Great question.
Yes, Ms. Shirley.
Okay.
Come to the
Go ahead.
microphone and introduce yourself.
Shirley McNair. You said you want us to have a sit-down restaurant. Yeah, we're all looking forward to that. But my question is, with all that said and all these empty buildings, why can't you take some of that money and open a youth center for some of these kids in these after-school programs so there won't be so much crime on the street? They have somewhere to go and something to do. Yeah. So let's look at some of that money. I know 74 is building up with all these great things, and we don't need any more Vipe stores. I know entrepreneurship is wonderful, but that's not something we should continue to bring here, or Vipe stores, tobacco stores. That's not helping us. That's just giving them something to do. Go buy vapors, buy those little things that they smoke with. Let's stop opening doors to those kind of businesses and do something for these kids here in this town.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think it's working with our economic coordinator, development coordinator, trying to figure out, we can't just sit around and wait for businesses to show up. we need to go out and actively recruit and reach out to some of these businesses to make ourselves marketable and to make sure that they know we're here, we're on the map, and we're ready for that next step. I think that's definitely something we got to do when it comes to economic development, working with the coordinator. The second thing is, when it comes to youth, dealing with things for the youth of the city, I don't necessarily know that you want more government involved in developing your youth. I think we've seen in the current world landscape where government don't necessarily raise good kids. I think that it's very important for us to bring in the right people to raise children. Let me back that up, to help develop children. Because personally, I still think it takes a village to raise a child. And I think we need to strengthen our village in terms of why can't we reach out to a YMCA or to a children and clubs.
Boys and Girls Club.
Boys and Girls Club, yeah. And why can't we offer them the space that we just are sitting on currently? I mean, what things can we do for them to entice them to come and help? How can we partner not only with these organizations, but also within the community itself? What community, who are doing things in the community currently that just maybe need a little extra support and a little backing that the city could help with? I listened to one of the most recent city council meetings where I think Mary Jo Adams had a good recommendation with some of the money that would be left over in terms of what can we do with some of the money. I can't remember specifically right now where that money was coming from. There was some leftover money. Why can't we invest that money into something like church support services that paid light bills for people and help them in hard times? I know what church community services do because I've worked with them as a pastor and I've sent people their way and they've helped people. So how do we leverage what we currently have to entice people to come in and encourage what we already have to take that next step in building people's lives?
You're fine.
Great question.
Other questions? Anybody else have a question? Good discussion.
Yeah. I think we've done a lot, even just as a congregation, as a church at Crosspoint. I mean, we've bussed in kids. Before COVID, we were at 120 every Tuesday, around that number, busing them in and teaching them and building them up and encouraging them. And before COVID struck, that was one way we're doing it. We have been very active in the city. In fact, we're doing a trunk or treat. We're not doing it on our church grounds. We're going out into the community to encourage and to build up the communities. We're really active. And I was sharing this with somebody earlier today. I think what you can do is if you look at someone's past and what they've been able to do without position, you can be encouraged that they'll do that in position. And that's what I look forward to doing here with the city.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
All right. And our next election, City Council District 1, Mr. J.D. Willis, a very familiar name to all of us, and Mr. DeMarco Allen. Mr. Willis and Mr. Allen, if you would make your way up. Mr. Allen, if you would, introduce yourself and tell us what you hope to accomplish as a city council member.
Good evening, everybody. My name is DeMarco Allen, and I'm running for Laurinburg City Council District 1.
And what area does District 1 encompass?
District 1 is pretty much downtown,
Okay.
and you got all to Stewartsville, going this way, going towards Highland Village area.
Okay.
What I look to do, well, I'm running on a platform of resilience, representation, and relatability. I think I'm resilient because my story isn't uncommon in this area. I face circumstances that has required me to make a deliberate choice to survive. I represent an often overlooked demographic of young fathers that's active in their kids' life, and I hope to be a candidate that represents their concerns with integrity and honesty. Relatability, I'm from Scotland County. Like I said, I'm a father of 5. I have 3 girls, 2 boys. So I'm a girl dad and a boy dad. Like I said, I'm from Scotland County. I've been here all my life. Graduated from Scotland in 2010, and I just hope to bring some fresh ideas, some fresh ideas, and just to be somebody that can relate to our people.
Okay. Mr. Willis?
J.D. Willis. Let me just say thank you to all of the entities for putting this forum on. I am seeking election in District 1 for the seat that's being vacated by Councilmember Mary Evans. I am running because I think I have a lot of experience. I am a team player. I have worked with the existing city council members and with our city administration staff. Some of the things that I think that we need to address, number one, infrastructure. We need to continue to purchase land in order to build more wells and so that we will be able to provide the clean water that we are currently providing. The next thing is when you look at your infrastructure from your storm drainage, and it's a lot of pipes that's in the ground that really need to be replaced. Some of them been there for who knows how long. Crime. I used to think that purchasing shot spotters would help the crime, but after talking to the chief of police, he said, no, not shot spotters, they are so costly, but more tsunami cameras would help. So I think I have the knowledge, the know-how, and the experience, and that's why I'm running.
Mr. Allen, I'll ask you this question first. Have you had any previous experience in public service?
I have not. This will be my first time running,
Okay.
so I am new to this.
Mr. Willis, previous experience?
Yes, I have served on the, I have to laugh because I have served on the city council before. I have served on the county commissioners and even served as chairman of the county commissioners, chairman of the economic development board, and I could continue to go on, but I'll stop there.
Okay, that's fine. Any questions for either of these two candidates?
My name is Cynthia Johnson. You all had the pleasure of meeting my daughter, Charlotte Johnson, earlier today, and just trying to get her involved as well as some other young folks involved. I'm coming before today because I am concerned about the city, and especially from the city representation standpoint. And Mr. Willis, I'm going to come to you.
Step a little closer,
Okay.
Ms. Johnson.
I'm going to take you back to when you were serving as the county commissioner and you were chairman of the county commissioner. And
Now, I will, let me say this, just so we're on the same page. If we're going to draw out a history, I'm going to ask in fairness to go right to the question and ask the question.
Okay, the question is, why would you not support the $20,000 request that was a match to keep the center operating? And why would you take $300,000 and send it back to Z. Smith Reynolds Foundation, thinking that the center was going to close? You remember that time?
I don't remember exactly all the steps, but it had to be a very good reason. And as I recall, there were some problems that I care not to discuss with that issue.
No, that's not the format.
That is something that
I will accept that, but going forward.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Going forward with working in partnership with community organizations, because in terms of getting programs started, like even I'm looking at I.E. Johnson and the program over there and getting it going, it may need support from foundations. What is your position on working cooperatively or collaboratively with these organizations?
It's funny that you should bring that up. I have been very involved with the I.E. Johnson project and in working with a nonprofit organization that wants to use that facility, basically to build a swimming pool, to use those classrooms for vocational classes. I support that 110%.
Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McNair, you can come around the front.
Shirley McNair. My question is, all of us here in Scotland County, we're constantly seeing our water bill go up, our electricity bill go up, but there's no improvements that's showing why it's constantly getting raised. And these are a lot of people that are on fixed incomes, and the bills are going $300, $400, $500. What's the reasoning behind that, and how can you help lower that cost so people aren't struggling just to try to keep warm or try to keep cool?
When I served on city council before, the city council reduced electric bills. I think one time was 7.4% and one time was 3.8%, total of 11%. We did that in order to give relief to the citizens. Now, I don't recall increase in electric rates over the years, over the past 2-3 years. A lot of that is household usage. In the summertime, people turn their air conditions down to 65. In the wintertime, they turn it up to about 80. So to answer that, I can't at this point without getting into the details of it.
Mr. Allen, did you want to respond? Do you have any thoughts? Or?
So, I stay within the district, so I feel that with the light bills being high, because I currently pay, this month I had to pay a $400 light bill. So I will be looking into that if I'm elected in this position, making assessments, trying to figure out what we can do to help the people lower their light bills.
Can I say one thing as a citizen to everybody here? I asked the same question, Ms. Shirley, and I will tell you, and I asked Charles Nichols, who's our city manager, and in all fairness, I'm just putting this out there as a citizen, and I don't care who you vote for, just go vote. But what I was told was that the increases we've seen are not arbitrary increases because the city is trying to take or get more money, that the rate increases that have been put in place are simply to maintain and to repair the system that we already have. In other words, it's a hindsight increase. We have to increase this or we have to increase taxes. This was the explanation I was given. So I'm just saying that that was what I was told. I take it as, I'm always one of those people I trust but verify. But that was the answer I was given, that the rates have not been raised or nothing's been raised. For instance, there was some misunderstanding about there was a letter that went out, and I got one of them, about the recycling. And there was going to be a charge if you didn't separate your recycling thing. Well, Miss Mary Jo has the misfortune of living right down the street. First thing I do is say, I got this, and she said, it's costing us $350,000 a year that we already don't have to recycle. It should be saving money and saving resources and helping the environment, but it's turning out to be more costly than it's worth. So it wasn't just the city looking to get $350,000, $350 if you didn't separate your pizza boxes and your orange juice container. That was not it. They were simply trying to find a way to keep up with the budget shortfalls that they already had and that they saw coming. Is that a fair statement? And I'll ask anyone here who's an elected official, Mary Jo, Drew, anybody, was that a fair assessment? Okay. So I will say that, Ms. Shirley, that the increases have been just to maintain the service that we have. If you want to talk about improving, we got to talk. That's a different conversation. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Please.
My name is Shirley Campbell. This question go to JD. JD, I heard you talk about the sewage and the rusty pipes and all of that, right? When you was on the city council, they had the money to pay for the sewage that was on Isabel Street. And I was told directly that you told them not to do it.
That's all.
So they took the money and went another direction with it. So what make us think that you're gonna get on it now and do the right thing?
Well, I don't know where you got your information from, but that is totally incorrect, and you can ask your city council members that's sitting over there right now. That is a false statement.
I can tell you it's not, because I got it from the head.
Well, whoever gave it to you didn't know what,
Mr. Willis?
what they were talking about.
We're okay.
Let me just say that.
This is not the time or place. If you have a question,
Yeah, I'm just asking you, for you to be elected.
now, let me say, in all fairness to the candidate, he said that the information was not true. So if you want to investigate, talk to others, that's fine, but there's no need in restating the question that he's already answered.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Come on up.
I'm Tony Cutlow. I've been here for about 5 years. Several times I've tried to get solar. And being in the city of Laurinburg with the city of Laurinburg Electric, I cannot do solar. What can you do to change that?
Right off the top of my head, I cannot tell you without investigating and seeing what's what first, sir.
Because I'm getting tired of $800, $900 electric bills.
Are there any, do you know of any restrictions, Mr. Willis?
No, I do not.
Okay. And
That's a good question. I think that Drew could answer when he comes up here. Hate to put you on the spot, Drew, but you know more about it since I've been off the board than I do currently.
Mr. Allen?
Like Mr. Willis said, I'm not sure what I can do, but I can guarantee that I can be transparent with you when I do find out.
Thank you. That's all I ask of either of you.
All right.
Thank you for the question. Excellent discussion points. Any other questions? Any other questions? Thank you both for your time and thank you for your willingness to serve. I'm not going to put you on the hot seat, but in the short term, City Council District Number 2, running unopposed, Drew Williamson.
Yes, I'm Drew Williamson, running for City of Laurinburg, District 2. I've been on the council since 2011, and I wasn't quite sure how to address this. I am unopposed. I'm not sure how many District 2 members we have. But
Where is District 2, Drew?
it is really, well, it's changed a little bit. It's primarily was always the south side of town. If you really, from Church Street on down, but I think the District 1 has increased in size a little bit, so but roughly the south side of the community is primarily that. But if you are in District 2, I'd appreciate your vote. I'll just say, even though I'm unopposed, I still need your vote. But honestly, hearing some of the remarks today, maybe I can address some of them. Jason's, some of yours about retail and all that, and needing restaurants and everything. Let me just point out, if I can, some of the things that we've been doing that may address some of these. We have, within the last 3 years, $45 million, I brought my notes, in retail investment. And that didn't just come out of the blue. The city contracts with a group called, I think it's Retail Strategies, with electricities. We're an electricity city, and they, with the help of our city manager, Charles Nichols, Walker McCoy, and the staff, we are actively recruiting retail, including steak houses and others. And we do have one right down the street, not a steakhouse, but a restaurant. But yes, I'm like everybody. I want amenities. I want retail sales, most of which go to the county, by the way. And just there are jobs. But I think people get enthusiastic when they see something new is coming, and we are very much actively recruiting. Infrastructure came up. we have $60 million in ongoing water and sewer projects. And if you've seen the pipes along the roadway, as it's been said before, we have aging infrastructure. And fortunately, with the federal dollars that did come down, we chose to spend that money on things that really aren't that exciting, but very needed, such as infrastructure. So we are hitting that hard. And we have a new North Fire Station. It took 7 years to get that thing. Didn't cost any taxpayer money, but that was after Hurricane Florence, so sorely needed. And I'm proud, I think most of us are, of the efforts to revitalize downtown. We're very proud of McDuffie Square. We still have a long way to go. Each year, the council was trying to add new things to make it really what was an unused parking lot into a very much used public space that I think the community has really enjoyed. And then, you know, there's some other issues that came up. The solar issue, honestly, sir, I have no idea why you are having that issue. If that comes up before our council, I'm sure we can discuss it. There's bound to be some valid reason why you're having a problem, but if there's some way we can address it, I would certainly be in favor of that. I'm not sure what else to add. I will add one thing. We have 4 of our council members here. We probably have a quorum, so we should have put a notice out. But one thing I'll say about this past few years with these individuals, I've been so pleased with how, even when we don't always agree, and there'll be votes that are 3-2, 4-1, we respect each other's opinions. And you'll never see our council getting into a shouting match, I can promise you, as it's presently constituted, and I'm sure whoever's elected will be the same. But that's so important. We have our eye on the big goal, which is to improve the city. We may not always agree on the steps we take, but I have been very pleased that when the vote has been taken, we ask our city manager and his staff to follow through and run the play, as Mayor Parker used to say years ago. So I'll be happy to answer any questions, Joe.
Anyone have any questions for Councilman Williamson?
Thank you, Joe Patton again, City of Laurinburg, and you guys have done a great job downtown. I just have to tell you that, along with Chamber of Commerce and 'tis the season and everybody. So thank you for that. Drew, just a general question. Wesley and I were back here talking. With the now abandoned St. Andrews, does that fall under the city or the county?
Well,
great
or
question.
both?
Interesting. That's a very important topic. It just so happens I'm very much involved with that. I don't sure how much time we have. There's a lot of moving parts. It's not the city. It's not the county.
The official answer is 2 minutes, but
okay, well,
I know the moderator.
I guess the question is, if there is anything you can do, what would it be?
Well, we can support the efforts. Our EDC, I represent the city along with the mayor on our Scotland County EDC board. That is a huge undertaking. That may be the biggest issue that this, in my opinion, that Laurinburg has been presented with in the past 25, 30 years, maybe 50 years. We lost our college, whether, you know, we knew it was struggling financially, but the reality of that loss has been very difficult to deal with. And it's not just the loss of jobs and payroll, and there's a psychological loss. It's sort of like when Abbott and Eaton left. You know, what's going to happen to Laurinburg? What are we going to do? I can promise all of you that there is a huge effort. I am involved with it. It's very seldom a day goes by we're not talking about this issue and working on it. And I could tell you more, Joe, if we had a little more time, maybe afterwards. I would like to think there's one thing that came up, the rates, the water, sewer, electric. We get that a lot. I understand it. I will say this. Our tax rate has remained at 40 cents. Finish up real quick.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, Warren, okay. I'll listen. And in spite of a lot of people saying we need more services, and we're the lowest in our region with the exception of Pinehurst and Southern Pines. Of course, they're international resorts. They have plenty of resources. Our water and sewer and our electric, believe it or not, and I understand, I'm not minimizing people's struggles, if you base it on a kilowatt basis, things like that, we are as low, if not lower, than all of our competitors. I will say, we even did a recent study of our electric rates, and the reason they went up a little bit, or maybe going to go up, we were told by the state, if we didn't raise our rates, we would not be eligible for grants. I just told you we had $60 million in grants. And so, and the thought was we had to have more skin in the game, that our rates were actually too low. I know our citizens can't believe it when we say that. But our representatives who are here tonight, they can agree that that's what we were told very clearly, and we had to act that way and raise those rates a little bit. Sorry, I've gone over my time.
Oh, you're all right. They're agreeing. Questions? Did that lead to any questions? This is an important topic, and probably the one that we see that affects us day in, day out the most. When you get, I don't know, there's just something unnerving about opening that light bill.
Same here.
I gotta pay more.
Or checking out at the food line. Thank you, Drew. The more I grocery shop, the more I sound like my mama. There's no way you should be able to carry $120 worth of groceries to the car in your hand. That's something my mama would say, and I understand. I get it. Let me just say real quick, Chris, forgive me for being the heathen. Chris asked me earlier today if I would do an invocation and ask for the blessings of our Creator, and I completely skipped that. If you don't mind, before we leave, before we part ways, if you bow your heads, I would still like to go to our Creator and ask His blessings. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, architect of the universe. Lord, it's humbling that you consider us and breathe life into us. We thank you for the civility and the willingness to serve here in this room. And as we go out of this room and go our own ways, we ask you to give us safe travel. And Lord, we ask most of all that regardless of our difference in opinions or experiences or economic status, we ask that you will help us to realize we have far more in common than we do that separates us. Help us to realize that and rally around that as individuals and as a community to make this a better place. Lord, you constantly told us that we wanted to be the light on the hill. Give us the light to see what that means to make Laurinburg the light of our surrounding community. We ask all these things, Lord, in your name. Amen.
Joe, thank you so much. I'm going to turn everybody loose here real quick. I just want to say this. I think I'm a bigger heathen than you because I didn't even realize we had forgot it. So thank you for that invocation. Oh, you got something? Okay.
Thanks very much.
Introduce
very
yourself.
Briefly, my name is Melissa Schaub, and if you are a candidate running for office, you know my name because you've been getting emails from me asking you to fill out the League of Women Voters voter guide. So your candidate info for our voter guide that Ms. Martha told you about at the beginning of the session. So I just wanted to remind all candidates who are here today, if you haven't filled that out but you want to, we're in the back and I'm more than happy to assist anybody with that process. We would really like to get your participation. The voter guide is not live right now for voters to go look at, but it will be in a few days. So you have time. Our questions are very simple, and everybody's already kind of answered them here today. So all you have to do is kind of type out what you said to people here, but that way others can go and find it out later. So thank you. All right,
thank you. Again, I'm going to turn you loose, but thanks again to all of our candidates that are running. And thank you, everyone, for your participation tonight. This ended up being a wonderful event. Thank you. Good night. Be safe.